we'll go ahead and reconvene to the regular Yuma
Chair-
County Board of Supervisors meeting.
Chairman, you can adjourn the work session.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, well, I'll just adjourn the work session and reconvene to the regular County Board of Supervisors meeting. And I'll go ahead and move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person, submitted by email at publiccomments@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Do we have any emails?
We do not have any emails.
Anybody from the public that wishes to address the board? And Aaron, you'll wait for item. Okay. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board and move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. Any appointments? None. Moving on to item number 1, presentation of the mix with Yuma County and El Condado Informado by Yuma 77.
Welcome to The Mix. As summer break comes to an end and schools return to session, more students will be walking and biking to and from campus. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office is reminding drivers and families to make safety a priority. Children should use designated crosswalks, obey traffic signals, and look left, right, then left again before crossing.
That's both for the people crossing as well as the vehicles in the area. Once that crossing guard is holding that stop sign out, make sure you are paying attention and you stop your vehicle completely, because we want to make sure our little humans are crossing the street safely.
Stay alert, avoid using cell phones while walking, and make eye contact with drivers before stepping into the roadway whenever possible. August is Overdose Awareness Month, and Yuma County is encouraging residents to help prevent opioid overdose deaths. Free naloxone kits are available at multiple locations across the county. Naloxone is a safe, easy-to-use medication that can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose when given quickly.
So we work with different entities in Yuma County to provide naloxone free of charge. So we try to get as many access points in the county so individuals can essentially just walk into these businesses, ask where their naloxone is, and grab a box free of charge, no questions asked.
For training or to obtain naloxone, contact the health district. Preliminary results from the 2026 midterm primary election have been released. On election day, 3,504 people voted in person at one of the 9 vote centers, while an additional 18,763 persons voted using early ballots. There were a total of 22,267 ballots cast for a voter turnout of 20.27%. Full election results are available at yumacountyaz.gov. Before we go, looking for a new career? Yuma County is hiring for a variety of positions across multiple departments. To explore current openings, visit the Yuma County website, click on the Employment tab and scroll through the latest job listings. Your next career opportunity could be just a few clicks away. Thanks for tuning in. Residents can catch the latest episode of The Mix by visiting yumacountyaz.gov and navigating to the VOD section. You can also head over to the Yuma County's official YouTube channel. English episodes are available under the Mix playlist, while Spanish-speaking viewers can find the Spanish version under El Condado Informado. Both platforms offer access to current and past episodes. ¿Prefiere ver The Mix en español? No se lo pierda. La versión en español del programa está disponible bajo la lista de reproducción El Condado Informado en el canal oficial de YouTube del Condado de Yuma. Gracias por acompañarnos. We'll see you next time.
We'll move on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless the board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And I have items 1 through 5.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve item 1 through 5 with the exception of 4.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve items 1 through 5 with the exception of item number 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Just wanted to make the public aware of why we're having to do this. I see Tom here. Do you want to explain about the solar situation and why we are having to make this motion to approve the deficit funds?
I'm heard.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors. You know, I can explain this very easily, is that let me get my paper so I can make it perfect.
Okay. We want to make it perfect.
What happened?
Oh, he's getting,
You getting his presentation already?
no, he's getting his paperwork.
Oh, he's paper. Forgot it.
And Tom, before you go on, I've actually made a mistake. This one is power transmission lines, not the solar, but we still have a deficit, and turn the floor back to you.
Anyway, this is the second one that's happened. We had the big one before
Which was solar.
out east, but San Diego Gas and Electric paid their taxes, and they challenged the taxes. And so the school districts were taxed. Well, now they have to pay that money back. And so what this is a request of the Board of Supervisors that you can approve this tax levy because the schools are short of cash money right now because they didn't budget for that. But when the state says you got to pay that money back, you pay the money back. So that's what this request is.
Thank you very much, Tom.
It hit East County schools hard.
And that's the reason we don't trust solar anymore.
It's not just solar, it's
The courts
It's
can
the
decide at
lines.
the end
The
and what
solar was
happens.
the first one, now it's the,
Power transmission.
What happens we
transmission lines.
can, but the county needs to pay the bond.
once again, it's the state saying that they're here to help us and causing us a lot of challenges.
Oh,
Well,
we're-
this is where we need to get control of it and
Yes.
have the authority to do it.
Correct.
And like I said, this is by no fault of the counties or the schools. This all relates back to the state.
Yeah.
And Tom,
Well, you know, it's like these utility companies, they challenge all the taxes that they get. They have attorneys, that's all they do is just challenge the taxes wherever they're taxed. And then they would discover something like that, and the state overtaxes them. They challenge it, and then the schools pay those taxes. Now they're short of money. So that's basically what this is, to try to keep the schools going because they're going to be short of money.
Well, we need to keep the schools going, so I appreciate that, Tom.
Pardon?
I said we need to keep the schools going.
Yeah, it would be great. And you know, in a small school, $58,000 is a lot of money.
Sure.
And in
Should be a
a
lesson,
school
Tom.
like the high school district, it's not that much money. You can see in your program how much money each district is
Responsible for.
going to have to pay back.
Well, Tom, there should be a lesson to the school districts not to use the money right away and keep it stashed away, at least until the court decides what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is they spend it, and now that they spend it, they have to pay it back. And now it's a big issue for some of the smaller school districts, as you said.
Yeah.
Now, we as a Board of Supervisors have always been careful not to spend all the money we get every year because of the same reason, because we don't know when an emergency is going to hit or when the court decision is not going to go our way. But we can do it, but school districts, small school districts, I mean, they get the money and they spend it right away, and teachers, they spend it on something they need. But the fact is that if it's in court, if it's being challenged, I think they should keep it keep it aside until the court decision. Once the court has decided, then it's decided. Then it goes to appeal. And boy, I'm telling you, that's a long and lengthy process the school district's just not designed to do. And instead, San Diego Pacific, San Diego Light and Pacific, so those people they have attorneys, that's all they do. So all they do is just go after the tax money. And every time they win, they go after us to pay it back. Yeah. It's not a problem for us, but school districts, small school districts have a tough time.
Yeah.
And I think.
And you know, the schools prepare their budget 1 year in advance. And so now that the schools are on current base funding, it used to be that you operated your school on the budget that you had last year. But now it's current base funding. So if you make your budget a year ahead of time, and let's say you're 100 students short, then you're really in a bind. So this is very important that we are able to approve that tax levy.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve item number 4.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 4.
Thank you, Tom.
Presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Moving on to discussions and action items. The board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate. We'll move on to item number 1. Clerk of the Board of Elections. A, certify the unofficial results of the July 21, 2026 primary election pursuant to ARS 16-62, and B, declare the nomination of candidates who received the largest number of votes in each contest on the ballot for each political party pursuant to ARS 16-645A. And Desiree.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Desiree Phillips, Clerk of the Board. Today, I'm pleased to present the results of the July 21st, 2026 primary election and the work completed by Election Services leading up to today's canvass. Before I get into the numbers, I'd like to recognize that conducting an election is truly a team effort. Election Services leads the process, but it takes the support of many county departments, dedicated election workers, and our community partners to make elections a success. And so over the past several weeks, our team has been processing ballots and completing the required audits and post-election procedures to ensure that every eligible ballot was accurately counted. And today's canvass represents the completion of that work and another important step in maintaining public confidence in elections. Can you advance the slide for me?
You move that to
Please.
results instead of just
Barbara, can you
the heading?
advance this
There
slide?
you go.
So for the July 21st primary election, Yuma County had 109,840 registered voters. There were a total of 22,267 ballots cast, resulting in an overall voter turnout of just over 20%. And as we continue to see over the past several election cycles, voters took advantage of the many options available to cast their ballots. 679 voters voted in person during early voting. 7,705 chose to drop off their ballots. 3,395 voted in person on election day. And there were also 109 provisional ballots that were processed. The majority of ballots continue to be returned by mail, with 10,292 of those mail ballots received, along with 58 ballots submitted through the secure online portal through our military and overseas voters. And before election results can be certified, Arizona law requires several important post-election processes to ensure the accuracy and integrity of elections. On July 25th, we completed the required hand count audit, where a sample of ballots are manually counted and compared to the tabulation equipment. And I'm happy to report that the audit confirmed the accuracy of the election results. On July 26th, the signature cure period concluded, allowing voters the opportunity to resolve any signature discrepancies so that their ballot could be counted whenever possible. And then on Friday, July 29th, on Wednesday, July 29th, Election Services completed the required post-election logic and accuracy test on all tabulation equipment to confirm that the equipment continued to accurately tabulate ballots after the election. These steps are an important part of Arizona's election process and provide multiple layers of verification before the results are presented to the board for canvass. With each of these requirements now complete, Election Services is confident in the accuracy of the election results before you today. And before I conclude, I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who helped make the primary election successful. Elections truly are a countywide effort. Thank you to all of those many areas listed here on this slide: county administration, communications, emergency management, facilities, human resources, IT services, the library district, local law enforcement, the recorder's office, risk management, and then every other department that stepped in to support during this time. And then also, thank you to the election workers. They are the face of elections on the election day, and their professionalism and dedication and commitment to serving the voters made a huge difference. Many of them worked very long days because they genuinely care about ensuring every voter has a positive experience and every ballot is handled with accuracy and integrity.
Desiree, before you move on, how does facility management and risk management get in that list? What does facility managers do for elections?
They help move equipment to our different voting centers.
And risk management, what? Does what?
And they support all of us in some of those moves and making sure that we have the coverage that we need.
Okay. I just wanted to get a better sense what every one of these departments does. I know what county administration does, and I know what communication do election workers. I just didn't know emergency management. I didn't know they had a task to do during the election.
Well, she's giving thanks to basically the people that help in each department. It's not that they have something to do, but it's just they help.
In one way or another.
Yes.
What is the way that they help? That's what I was asking.
Emergency management would step in if there is an emergency that happens during elections.
So they're ready. They're tasked with being ready for an emergency? Okay. All right. I don't mind giving everybody credit for the elections. I just wanted to know what they do. I mean, emergency management, facilities management, human resources. I mean, I know they provide people, bodies, but, I mean, that's probably why they're being recognized. Oh, that's okay. I mean, it's not a question that's malicious. It's just me trying to understand how every one of these departments plays a part. So it's because they provide people, or they're ready in case of an emergency.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that concludes my presentation. Any other questions?
Any other questions for Desiree?
No?
I didn't receive one complaint this election, so thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's good. That's a
Good to
good
hear.
election.
That's good for
It's a
me.
good election when you don't get a challenge.
Uh,
So I'll make a motion, we approve the results of the election.
Desiree, I want to
election.
thank you for, this is your first one, prepares you for the second one, so
Yeah, this is a
thanks
good,
for all,
this is a
all
good
your work.
test.
I know it's, it takes a lot, so, thank you again, and to all the departments and people that help you. There's a motion,
Mr. Chair, if I could just
Yes.
interject for one moment. I think we'd be wise to be specific in following the recommended motions on the agenda.
The recommended motion is,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that we certify the unofficial results of the July 21st, 2026 primary election pursuant to ASRS 16-622, and B, declare the nomination of the candidates who received the largest number of votes in each contest on the ballot for each political party pursuant to ASR 16-645A be approved.
I'll second that motion.
there's a motion and a second to approve, certify the unofficial results of the July 21, 2026 primary election and declare the nominations of candidates who received the largest number of votes.
This is the unofficial
ballot.
result, so this makes them official, right? Once we canvass them? Okay.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Desiree. Moving on to item number 2, Development Services, discussion and action and possible action to direct staff on a ordinance allowing applicants with a history of compliance with building codes and regulations to be eligible for expedited permit.
Good morning,
Greg.
Good morning, Chairman Porches, members of the board. This morning I'm bringing forth 3 different draft ordinances. This is the first one that would allow us to have an expedited review process where applicants that have a history of providing us with complete applications or prompt with providing us with review comments would be moved ahead of those that haven't established that history. This should make it possible for frequent submitters to improve the review times for their applications. What this does do, let's see if this advances. Thank you. Complies with ARS 11-269 27A.5. We're establishing preference for digital submittals and interaction. Our software provides opportunity for them to understand what submittals are needed and also checks to make sure that those submittals are included with their application. And if the applicant will work with us to limit the amount of back and forth that goes on to resolve all of the review comments, it will speed up the process, and this expedited review would benefit us as well as the applicant because we can clear off through a triage process those things that are, we know are getting in, they've answered everything, so we just need to verify that it's answered and approve it. So,
Mr. Sellers, what does approval with red lines mean?
I'm sorry?
Approvals with the red line.
We try to follow this process somewhat with, by triaging, but there's still some permits that, if they get behind the line, they may be waiting for something that has a more thorough review. And having staff on the larger items can prevent some of these that just have a couple of questions to answer, delaying both permits instead of just the one that's got the delays. This would put it in place to where we know who to look for. We know who to give that triage and checking with.
So you're moving these people ahead of other applicants, and then you're approving it with red lines? Is that what you're saying here?
Approval with red line is if our reviewer can go through the plan and make 3 or 4 red lines, and that's all that's needed to approve it, if they're willing to accept the plan with those red lines, we don't need a setback from them. The exception to that is if we're establishing a model set of plans that are going to be used for multiple locations. This is primarily for those sites where it's a custom home, one set of plans, but you know they missed a GFI or something. We can mark it off and say a GFI needed, and we don't need to see that back. We know it's on the plans. We can agree to, if you'll accept that modification, then we can approve the set of plans.
So as long as the applicant approves the set of plans with red lines, it's okay?
Right. We don't want to be the ones that are the last to say, you need to make this change. We need them to accept it because it's their design.
So that's what you mean with applicant penalties for noncompliance? Is that what you mean when you said establishes county quality assurance and applicant's penalty for noncompliance?
The quality assurance is, we want to keep the people in that are complying with this. If we have people that are not following up, they're not giving us complete sets of plans, we want to make sure that there's consequences to not following the requirements. So what we would do is each set of the plans that comes in, we would still perform an administrative review so we can make sure that everything is there that should be there with the plans. And at that point, if everything's in place, we would move forward.
Isn't that what you do with everybody? Though, I mean, this is designed to move the process faster. So I understand the preference for original submittals. I understand that this applicant has done that before. I understand the fact that he's got approval with red lines. I understand all those factors. But the idea was to force you guys to deal with issues faster. So is this going to help you guys do that? Or is it going to be another way of saying, okay, well, you're going to have to meet this. Otherwise, you don't get it anyway.
This is optional to the applicant. Every time you submit a set of plans to us, you make sure all of your, you got a site plan there, you got your building plan there, and it includes everything. Your trusses are there, your calculations for your HVAC are there. We are reviewing a complete set of plans.
That would apply to houses as well as subdivisions?
Yes, so it'd be houses and commercial. What this does is it formalizes our ability to move that group of people ahead of everyone else that's previously applied that didn't give us complete sets of plans, or we're waiting for the second or third review round because they didn't address all of the review comments we gave them from the first round of comments. We know we're getting a quality submittal or resubmittal so that it will help get the overall bulk of applications off our desk, and it helps. We don't want to have a couple of projects that we are waiting because they haven't submitted everything. We get the submittal in, and this is waiting in line. And we have new stuff come in behind it that they've addressed the comments. We want to be able to check it all and formalize this process of being able to check it all, move the people up that are complete, clear off our desk of those items, and then we can focus in on the people that need additional help or just they don't have the calculations yet, but they need to get something into us to get those items reviewed. So we can focus on that after we've taken care of all of these individuals that have given us everything we need for the permit.
Okay, now the idea was, from my perspective, was that you had an application and you had so much time to decide. If you didn't decide, it would go on to the next level. So that was the idea that I thought we made clear that we wanted to have it. We don't want something lingering there for a year.
Right.
That's what I mean.
This should expedite the entire process. If you're clearing off all the ones that you know are good, no problems with them, or a few red lines, send them through, get them out, and then it opens it up where you can do the others quicker. So it should expedite the entire process across the board.
And we are implementing this to a certain extent. This is more of a formalization of that effort, so that if we have somebody come in and say, why did you move this guy's permit in front of us?
Because
we're able to say, well, we have a process that says we're going to move people ahead because that permits, the applications and the submittals we have from that process, they have a history of being complete, and we want to reward them for that process.
State statute says so.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
So it's permissive, not mandatory, but what is your objective criteria for preferential treatment? And the reason I asked that question is because Ian and I had a meeting on Friday with a couple of different builders who were making claims that they were being singled out, or they were being asked to resubmit even though they had architects and engineers stamps on their plans. We had somebody in your office saying that that wasn't good enough. So I want to be objective, right? But what is your criteria, and who gets to make that determination? Because I already feel as if we need to clean a few things up in there anyways.
Right. We'll get to that in the next item. That's a little bit closer to the self-certification.
I have a long list of complaints from that meeting on Friday about the building department and subjective criteria for determining whether or not projects are allowed to move forward and being placed in the back of the line.
Right.
As a penalty.
And that's what I'm trying to do with making sure that we move forward with these, is so that one is the objectiveness of the criteria.
But what is the objective criteria?
The objective criteria for the expedited review is that the initial review is complete. I believe we've got that covered by the software asking for the items that are required. The second is have they answered all of the questions or all of the comments that were made during the review? So if they've done those two things, they stay consistent with that eligibility for expediting.
Can I ask why building department would question an architect's or an engineer's stamp and their ability to provide the documentation for the building project? Why are we questioning that when they assume that liability when they stamp it? Why are we rejecting that?
The first I heard of this instance was late last week, and so I haven't had the opportunity to see the specifics of that. And so I don't have the basis to answer that. And so...
This is supposed to be a way to set a standard that you may follow. and I like that. You have
Yes.
3 items in the agenda. There are the three ordinances, which I was not very keen to the fact that we can pass ordinances, because there's only ordinance number 2027 XX, which means that we gotta set a number. Ordinance number 1, ordinance number 2, ordinance number 3.
Right.
And this will set up a process that people will follow. The way that they do it right now is it's very objective, and that's why you're complaining, because how can someone of a lesser degree challenge an architect or a
Engineer.
yeah, well, they do, because they have the power to. The answer to that is because they have the power to. And I think that
And we're here to provide customer service, right?
All right.
So why
And-
is it that we can't fix
so
that?
I think it goes back to the fact that they don't have any direction, real direction.
Right.
And now you will get it through 3
And
ordinances.
we'll go into that a little bit more with the self-certification ordinance, specific to the information provided by engineers and architects. There's some, that we have more specific guidance on what what needs to be met for that.
But this deals with the review. The next one deals with the certification ordinance, and the third one deals with the administrative review. So that's what you're saying. You're saying that you will address that on the administrative review.
Yes, specific to the engineers and the architects, we'll discuss that a little bit more in the self-certification item.
Okay. You understand the directions we gave you, right? The directions we gave you, don't hold it up as long as more than enough time. It's fast. So you understand that, and you're trying to do it on a prescribed situation, an ordinance situation. You're trying to make it legal, so that you're not questioned about why somebody would step up or why would.
I'm looking into the situation with those particular cases to see what is going on with that. I don't think that under most circumstances there should be a question about that, particularly.
I don't think that there should ever be a question if an architect or an engineer stamp it and certify it, especially if the person who's questioning it doesn't have that certification.
Right. I understand that.
Case closed, right? And yet we're doing that.
Well, they have the power to do it.
Yeah, and
So that's why I go back to your criteria for determining who gets to be rewarded. I mean, because we're already penalizing people in the plan review process.
right. So the concern with this would be that if we don't have explicit enough guidance on the expedited process, that they could potentially be moved backward.
I agree with the process. I agree with facilitating the plans, but we have a problem right now,
I understand that.
and it's subjective to somebody's opinion seeking to overrule an architect or an engineer. So how are you going to fix it, and how are you going to ensure that people are rewarded still proactively, right? Without subjective criteria from our building department? That's what I don't understand. Who gets to wave the magic wand and say, you're blessed, you're blessed, you're blessed?
Right.
When we're already not acknowledging architects and engineer stamps. I just want some accountability. I was blown away by the complaints.
Right.
Supervisor Lyons, if I could just interject for a second. I haven't had a chance to catch up with Mr. Seller since our meeting late last week, and I did catch up with Josh, and we're going to be pursuing that list of comments.
That's not
that was
customer
expressed.
service. And again, you're saying that we can give preferential treatment. I appreciate that, Ian. I'm just a little bit frustrated. The more that I thought about it over the weekend, then you're saying that we're going to come here and reward people. That's you and your department saying that you're going to help people, and we're already penalizing people.
And I appreciate the feedback because it helps me to understand. This is the first opportunity to bring this to you, and this feedback provides us with the opportunity to see what we can do to formalize some of the things that are being asked for. And so I appreciate having.
We were here 2 years ago having the same discussion.
I understand
With
that.
promises of reports. And we realized that we were not being provided that information that we had agreed to on behalf of our building community here in Yuma. Ty's a little bit restless, jumping up and down. Is there something you want to share with us? Mr. Chairman, is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. I just wanted to bring up a little clarity on the stamps of the design professionals. So you're right, we're plans examiners are staffed with development services. So we don't want to override a design professional. It's not what we're there to do. What we want to make sure is whatever they're providing is to the code that they're presenting to us. You know, we're not there to tell them that their design is wrong. We're not qualified to do that, and that's not what we want to do. We just want to make sure their design is consistent with what they're proposing. And once it is, that's where we cross that bridge and we step back. So we're not here to question the design professional. We're not there to.
However, in this process, when it's sent back, then it is timed out and it gets put at the bottom of a pile. And that is what concerns me.
Sure, and I just wanted to clear up that portion of what we're looking at from the plan examiner.
An overall
aspect.
process, right?
Correct.
That we had commitments that we were going to get resolved, and it seems like it just has deteriorated more. And now we are looking at a process to facilitate and encourage people to move faster through the process, but at the same time, we still haven't fixed some of the challenges that we had previously discussed.
And that's all I wanted to share with you.
All right.
Clarity. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so,
Well, I mean, I do agree that a stamp is not flexible and a stamp is not a guarantee. You still have to review them to make sure that the architect or whomever does the right thing. Because I've got an engineer, I got an architect, and I wish he did the right thing every time he submitted, but sometimes he misses something. So it's good to have the final review done by you guys. What it isn't right is if something's wrong, to put it back in the pile and say, well, we'll see if it fixes it sometime. That's what's wrong. It takes too long.
That's what's wrong, Tony. And
no,
and that's happening.
The review process is not what concerns me, because I think there has to be a review process. The time it takes for them to review process and to move ahead with the application is what concerns me, especially when there's a seal that guarantees that
the subjective criteria is my primary concern because it's not working for us now.
I'd say we go ahead and approve these ordinances and see what happens, but we'll be.
No, I think we need some more information. I think if there's complaints, we need to, we don't have to approve it today. We can send it back for further take no action today. Just hear him and bring this item back. I mean, I think, we're bringing up some legit concerns, and I think we need to address them first in order to put people first in line, so I understand that you're trying to expedite if they're following the ones that are doing this every time they submit plans and to expedite them. But at the same time, there's also other concerns that before we do this, I think we need to address all those concerns so that builders or presenters know what we're talking about.
right, appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, also because I'm concerned about the subjective criteria, because we already have some type of criteria, and yet, again, very specifically, we have plans examiners that are rejecting architects and engineer stamps, so that process is broken. And if you're going to say you haven't been penalized as that subjective criteria in order to move plans through an expedited process, we've already failed our customers.
Yeah, I'd agree. All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion, we table it and send it back.
That would be 2, 3, and 4?
No, we're on item number 2.
Well, they're related, as far as I'm
They're all
concerned.
related.
But yeah, we're gonna take it one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Second to
Table?
take no further action or recommend, take it back and take action at a future date. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is within 11 26927A-3 provides authorization for registered architects and professional engineers to certify and be responsible for compliance with applicable ordinances and constructions for qualified projects. So this one addresses specifically some of Supervisor Lyons' comments about why are we questioning registered architects and professional engineers and the specific requirements for that. And so within this item, registered architects and professional engineers would be allowed to certify that their plans meet the codes. But they, within that, also have to accept the liability associated with that. And so they would place a statement of the certification and acceptance of the liability, and our review would be limited to the setbacks, engineering-related things, flood control-related things. And the reason why those would be in place is engineering and flood control deal with the floodplain, which is a broader public item, and then the road component of the engineering. So if there's something missed, the roadway could be impacted by those items. But that's up to you as the board. If you wanted to just make it across the board that they're certifying that it's compliant, and then at that point it'd be just move to approval of the plans or and move forward.
So Craig, when they stamp something, can you please clarify this for me? Don't they already accept liability when they place their professional stamp on it?
They're accepting liability for the plan, and that the plan is reasonably safe, but that may not be the same criteria that is being used by the code. It is the certification that it's compliant with the applicable code. And that is where a lot of this lies, is we are checking for code compliance, not whether it is a safe design or not. The engineer and architect would be looking at that from that safety component.
Yeah, I would be in favor of empowering our engineers and architects to help expedite this process, as long as they understand that. Absolutely, and it fixes some of the other challenges that we can address, specifically stamping plans and not having plans examiners actually go back, waste time questioning whether or not it's in compliance, Mr. Chairman.
And how is this, when they put on their stamp, or how are they gonna know what we're talking about, what you want them to be?
The codes are published.
Okay.
And we have links on our website to the adopted codes, and so they have that. Currently, our code by statute has to be identical to the city of Yuma's, and so it's pretty consistent throughout the community that this is the code that's used for building.
I don't like that, but I guess I'll live with it.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve item number 3 as presented.
This has not had a public hearing to announce for comment.
Send it back to
All right.
So it'd be, we can bring it back at a later date.
Sure.
With that.
Okay, so the motion would be to propose the ordinance back to the board for a public hearing for further discussion and possible action.
You said that so well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
That's the
A
motion.
motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded the motion? Timmons?
Timmons.
You seconded the motion, Timmons?
Yeah.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Item number 4, there are a number of things that we currently do administratively based off of the planning ordinance and the adoption of the building codes. What this does is expands that administrative role to include subdivisions, lot splits, lot ties, and lot line adjustments that currently go to the Planning and Zoning Commission before they're approved. The big limit on this is they cannot have any modification to them. So they have to be a fully compliant set of plans to the adopted codes. And if that's the case, the same concern that we had on the first one about making sure that that we have a set standard that they're being approved to and not something arbitrary. They have to abide by the adopted code. We can't negotiate with them. We can't go above what the code requires. They meet the code, and staff can do the approval of it. Where this becomes significant time savings is we don't have the public hearings anymore for tentative and final plats. And can be done by administrative review and approval.
Mr. Sellers, is all this created by the fact that the legislature wants to speed up the process, development process, so the housing can be built?
Yes, the legislature made changes.
Because anytime you skip the Planning and Zoning Board, or anytime you skip a public hearing, that's because the state legislature has made it so that essentially you don't have to do that anymore, but you still need the clearance from the Board of Supervisors to do so. Is that what's happening right now with this specifically?
I'm not quite hearing the question, sorry.
Okay.
It won't skip us or planning and zoning.
Okay, I think he does skip the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Put on the next one, what it
does, let him answer. Let him answer. Seller, does it mean you can not go to the Planning and Zoning Commission with this?
It does not.
Right.
It does not. So that's.
Let me clarify that statement. Staff does not replace the board or commissioner board when it comes to approving things that are modifications or variances. And so the board, the common things we've had in the past are, do you need sidewalks? And can we do half-width roads on the perimeters of subdivisions? Those still require modifications. Staff would not be able to approve those. They would have to go through the process to get those modifications or other modifications performed because they're not allowed by the standards and ordinances. But if we have a subdivision come in and it is 100% compatible with the ordinances, standards, regulations, staff would be able to approve those.
You'd have to take the Planning and Zoning Commission then.
And the Planning and Zoning Commission would not be involved with that.
I just wanted to know that. Because I think I've listened and I've read a lot about how the state is trying to expedite the processes for subdivisions so that they can actually do affordable housing on them. Well, that's the context of they use. But I mean, I don't understand yet what sort of things can be where you can bypass the Planning and Zoning Commission or the board. It doesn't say, it says here staff does not replace the commission or board. And I don't think that that's what I am asking. I'm asking whether you take it to Planning and Zoning Commission.
And I apologize for not fully expressing that comment, that the function of the board and the function of the commission to weigh in on modification and requests for things that are different than standard was what I was implying there. I apologize for that.
Got it.
Any other questions for Craig? And I do have a speaker for this item. Aaron?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask for your indulgence on time at this, on this very important issue. I guess I want to start by saying that having the public involved in the process and having government work, to me, is the most important part about how the entire planning and zoning process works. A lot of the things that Supervisor Lyons brought up, and the first thing is some of the things seem so ambiguous to the public. And if they're not involved in the process, if you remove them from that process, then you're not going to have any buy-in on things that they think aren't good for their community or for the further building and size of Yuma in general. So I have some prepared statements. I know I usually don't read, but this time I think it's important. I support the legislature's intent behind ARS 11269 and the changes. Who among us would not want to oppose reducing unnecessary bureaucracy? Government should always strive to be as efficient, responsive, and limited as reasonably possible. My concern is not whether the county can adopt this ordinance. My concern is how the county chooses to exercise the discretion the legislature has provided. I think before we can continue, I think we need to understand that there should be 3 guiding principles behind this motion or this move to change these ordinances. Before reducing opportunities for public participation, planning and zoning review, or board oversight, government should demonstrate that doing so serves the public interest, not merely administrative convenience. Every level of review serves a completely different purpose. Staff are hired administratively and serve as the county's subject matter experts. However, they are not directly accountable to the public, nor can the public remove them or change their decision through electoral process, as we can with you. Planning and zoning provides independent review and recommendations from appointed citizens. The direct correlation between the Board of Supervisors and the Planning and Zoning Commission is because you guys specifically deem those people capable of deciding whether something falls within the legal boundaries or the desires of the major plan for Yuma County. The Board of Supervisors and citizens can therefore come to that meeting and express their desire for how the community can then be grown in the future. The Board of Supervisors provides elective oversight and direct accountability to the people. If you guys change too many things in a certain area, the people can then vote you out of that area. Clearly that's an extreme situation, but it does provide the public a matter of redress or a matter of recourse. Public comment provides local knowledge, experience, and community perspective that government often cannot obtain from an application alone. Each layer exists because it answers a different question. Staff determine whether an application complies with the law. Planning and Zoning Commission considers how it affects the community, and the board ensures that the people's elected representatives remain accountable for that process. Public comment reminds us that the government serves the citizens, not just regulations. Third principle is that transparency has value independent of outcome. Even if every qualifying application would ultimately receive approval, the public deserves confidence that government decisions remain visible, accountable, and open. People are far more willing to accept decisions they disagree with when they know the process itself was transparent. The more we remove the public from the process, the more outcry you're going to have when something doesn't go their way. I'm going to relate this back to the situation in the foothills of a couple years ago, where we had a huge amount of public outcry when they were trying to rezone something. Because RVS was so dense at the time, obviously it was struck down because of political pressure. If the citizens had remained not a part of that, now it doesn't specifically say that rezoning can be done outside of the board, and I understand that. My point is that the citizens' input changed RBS as a whole for Yuma County in perpetuity afterwards. So now we have 5 primary residencies per acre, vice the up to 30 that it was before previously. And I know some of you were very instrumental in changing that, and we appreciate that in the foothills to this day. Because of things like that, we now have a way to shape the foothills. And that specific 275-acre project, we were told we would have direct community input again because of the size of the project and the scope of it. They were not required to put in a site plan. Now, if that site plan is then in compliance with the basic codes, now staff can then approve them. So we lose our complete input on that. I would urge the board that the questions worth asking before eliminating these opportunities for review, I think we should ask, what problem are we actually solving? How much speed do we need to add and remove the community from that process? What measurable delay is really being eliminated? I can't answer that, only staff can. But I don't think the delay, it's not worth removing that small delay to remove the public from it. We have demonstrated the public hearings of the board review are not creating a significant burden, and we also believe that permitting efficiency can be improved without removing the public from it. There's plenty of room for that, as was evidenced by the first discussion. Balancing efficiency and trust, I think the ordinance states that Yuma County desires to minimize review times and costs, but it hasn't demonstrated anything, either in the slideshow, the written proposed ordinance, or any other place, what costs will actually be saved or what time. I think before we even entertain removing the public from this process, they should at least have to justify why and what costs, and if those costs could then be passed on to the permittees. I'll close simply and just say that transparency is not an inconvenience. It is the mechanism by which public confidence is earned. Government exists to represent the public at large, and government earns trust not by just doing things faster, but by doing them openly. Efficiency should improve the process, not replace public accountability. And with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your indulgence, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions?
Yeah,
I
Mr.
have a
Chairman.
comment. I think you're making the statement to the wrong people. You should make it to the legislature. That's what drives them to come and ask for the change.
I'm sorry,
I think we can.
I can't hear you.
Okay. I think that you're addressing the wrong body. You should address the legislature with that concern, because the legislature and the zeal to make things faster is what's creating this. It's not my desire to bypass the Planning and Zoning Commission. It is the desire of the legislature that we move faster through the process. They want to solve a problem called affordable housing. Now, that's not the way, for me, taking the public out of the process is not the way to solve the problem. It's just one more way. And you're addressing it to us. But if it was my taking, I would say that you take it to the Planning and Zoning Commission and go at it the right way, which is allowing people to comment on every item. That's the open way that I like it. But you're addressing it to us, and we have no say on this. Well, we have a say on this by telling the board, the Planning and Zoning Commission to go ahead and address the issue. Staff address the issue. But I think you need to make that statement available to the legislature. And I think that we ought to tape it and send it to them. I would say that, oh, okay.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman?
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
Craig, for clarification, if we adopt this, would you consider this permissive and enabling and not mandatory for each item? Or is it a broad blanket that applies to everything, and then we're not able to ask for a public hearing?
I would see it as permissive, but that's one of the reasons why we're bringing this forward as an ordinance. These are all optional items. You know, there isn't, the statutes allow counties to do these, they don't mandate us to do them. And so we are bringing them forward so that you're aware of what the options are to you as a board, and just our comprehensive push to make things faster, make things easier to do. You don't have to remove them from the public process, and we could establish what you want coming to you, what you don't want coming to you. So, you know, currently, building permits, site plan approvals, things like that are in a routine development applications, we're already administratively doing through the zoning ordinance and through the building code adoption and fire code adoptions. The other thing I didn't mention here, I mentioned the modifications, but also rezoning cases, special use permits would still go to the commission and board through that process, because those items without those approvals are not in compliance. And the distinction with that is there was an action taken in the past. The zoning was established, and somebody that's going in and doesn't need rezoning, they're building something that's compliant with the zoning in that location. We are just pointing out that there is the option with subdivisions, with lot splits and things like that, where you could expand that authority that we have to administratively do those reviews, but it doesn't have to be done that way.
While it would be self-serving to many people to eliminate the voice of the people, I just feel like that removes local government and creates additional challenges. You can't take away the voice of the people, and to have the opportunity to express and share their concerns.
Well, Mr. Chairman, too, it doesn't change the process like the zoning. It still has to go before P&Z and us for any subdivisions or anything like that. This is mainly, once the subdivision's been approved and they've started construction, I see where this kind of expedites that process. But as far as any rezoning or changing,
I don't know if that's
still has to.
100%. I don't know if that's 100% correct.
Yeah, let me clarify some points there. The rezoning, if there's a rezoning required, if there's special use permits required with it, those would still go to the commission and board. But the actual approval of the subdivision, there's a subdivision regulation that says what a subdivision needs to have. That can be done administratively. And I'm bringing this to you, not to say this is what we want to do, but to provide you with the understanding of this is what you as a board can direct us to do administratively, or what you want to continue to go through that process as it is.
I suppose, Craig, in order to clarify it, I would like to see an example of how something would come before us.
Okay.
So that there's clarity and perhaps help us to see that process from start to finish.
Mr. Chairman,
What is
the
proposed?
timing, can we add the timing
Yeah.
compared to right now,
Right.
you know, to how much faster is it gonna be?
We want to
Because if it's only a
facilitate, we want to
week or so.
facilitate the overall process, 100% in agreement. But we don't want to eliminate the public input from the Board of Supervisors' perspective.
Okay.
So I'd love to see kind of a layout with a timeline, Mr. Chairman, of what that looks like.
Thank you.
I just don't think that we can expedite this process here.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Aaron, go ahead.
I just wanted to let Supervisor Reyes know, Mr. Chairman, that the state has allowed us the latitude to bypass some of these things. Mostly it has to do with other counties, clearly, that have an incredible backlog. Doesn't apply to Yuma County, and I think changing the fact that Yuma County's growth has been exponential in such a short amount of time, removing the public from that amount of oversight does a disservice to the public. Also, to answer Supervisor Lyons and staff question, understand completely that special use permits, variances, and rezoning need to still go through the process. However, when I submit to do something on my lot, I'm required to submit a site plan, and that can be seen to be in compliance at the time I submit to do the project. The difference is when a developer does a larger scale project, the engineering of that project has to be done before they can come up with a site plan. And that's realistic. I understand that, and I understand the challenges large scale projects face. So they're not required often to do a site plan at the time. That allows the public a second opportunity to object to the size and scale of such projects.
Thank you, Aaron.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So
We'll bring it back.
you bring it back, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to discussion regarding legislative issues. Alejandro?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs for Yuma County.
Good morning.
Good morning. Am I moving it or are you guys moving it?
You know, starting to wear glasses all the time.
There we go. Okay. So the Joint Legislative Budget Committee has released its preliminary summary for the full 2026 fiscal year. Arizona collected approximately $17.2 billion in general fund revenues. While that was $376 million above the January forecast, most of the gain was already included in the enacted budget. Revenues ultimately finished only $22 million above the budget estimate. Sales tax grew by 3.8%, but prime contracting declined by 1.7%, largely because of weakness in residential construction. Individual and corporate income tax collections both performed above the prior year. HERF collections increased slightly but remain approximately $49 million below forecast. So the projected fiscal year 2027 ending balance is only $42 million and could still change as the final spending and tax conformity impacts are determined. So as you probably know, there were two significant court rulings on legislative referrals last week by the Maricopa County's Superior Court. Both HCR 2040 and HCR 2048 were removed from the November ballot after judges found they violated Arizona's separate amendment rule, which requires unrelated constitutional changes to be presented separately to voters. HCR 2040 addressed school district resources and labor organization activity, but also included broader public sector labor restrictions. Legislative leaders are not planning to appeal the ruling. On the other hand, HCR 2048 addressed scholarship protections for military families, but also included language that could invalidate future conflicting laws or initiatives, including the Protect Education Act. Legislative Republicans have indicated they plan to appeal. So that would go into the Arizona Court of Appeals. The main takeaway is that the ballot referral landscape is still changing through the courts, and some measures that were expected to go before voters may not ultimately appear on the November ballot after all.
I hope so.
Moving on to water issues, and please, Supervisor Lyons, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but here's what I have. The United States Bureau of Reclamation has released the final environmental impact statement for the Colorado River operations after 2026. Because the 7 basin states did not reach a long-term agreement, the preferred approach is a 10-year framework covering 2027 through 2036, with more specific operating rules expected to be developed in 2-year intervals. There are two shortage figures to distinguish. The framework allows up to 3 million acre-feet in shortages for the United States portion of the lower basin. For its impact analysis, Reclamation modeled total shortages up to 3.6 million acre-feet when assumed reductions to Mexico are included. The Mexico figure is only a modeling assumption. It is not a final decision to reduce Mexico's water. Any changes involving Mexico would have to be addressed separately under the 1944 Water Treaty through the International Boundary and Water Commission in consultation with the United States Department of State. Under the most severe conditions modeled for the preferred approach, Arizona's shortage could reach approximately 1.96 million acre-feet. That is a maximum modeling scenario, not a prediction of what will occur. Actual reductions would depend on river conditions, the operating rules ultimately adopted, water right priorities, and any voluntary agreements. For Yuma County, the impact would depend heavily on the priority of each water entitlement. The final EIS identifies the potential for crop changes and long-term land retirement in Yuma County if reductions are concentrated on junior priority irrigation users. A priority-based approach would generally provide greater protection to senior water rights, while a broader sharing approach could expose more users to reductions. The main takeaway is that the final EIS does not impose a specific reduction on Yuma County today. It establishes the federal framework and the range of possible impacts. The next steps will determine the operating rules for 2027 and 2028 and how any required reductions would be distributed.
Mr. Chairman, can I add to Alejandro's statements? Just a little bit, because that final determination was a news dump late Friday night. And I guess the main points would be that most Yuma irrigation districts hold relatively senior priority, 3 or better, so minimal impacts. And that for the most part, we're not necessarily affected by anything at this point in time, and that we maintain. And it was basically underscored that they followed the law of the river, which we always refer to. And so that should be reassuring for Yuma and our producers right now. And that was a meeting that I had early Saturday morning after this was dumped late Friday night.
You say right now is just now, or?
Well, just depends on how bad it gets, right?
Okay.
But essentially,
so we can see,
yes.
Or okay.
Essentially following the law of the river, that Yuma County and most of our irrigation districts have senior priority along with a couple of the tribal entities.
Thank you. On election matters, Republican gubernatorial nominee Andy Biggs has selected former state senator Sine Kerr as his lieutenant governor running mate. Kerr previously represented Legislative District 25, which included portions of Yuma County. She currently serves as the Arizona State Executive Director for the United States Department of Agriculture Farm Service Agency. Her selection completes the Republican ticket. Now, Governor Hobbs has not yet announced her running mate, but state law requires the selection to be made at least 60 days before the general election. On the federal front, Congressman Paul Gosar's Yuma Defense Readiness Act has advanced through the House. The proposal will withdraw and reserve approximately 22,000 acres of federal land adjacent to the U.S. Yuma Proving Ground in Yuma and La Paz counties. Congressman Gosar successfully included the same proposal in the House version for the fiscal year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act. This gives the proposal a path forward as part of the broader defense bill. The land would provide additional safety space for aviation, parachute, advanced delivery system testing, and other military training activities. The provision is not final. It must remain in the legislation through Senate consideration, negotiations between the two chambers, and final congressional approval. With that, I conclude my presentation to the board. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Alejandro?
Anything on the crossing, Alejandro, at all? On the new crossing? I mean, they've been working on it for a while. It's expected to get done sometime.
Northbound, they're still working on it. They're expected to complete the additional construction by October of this year. And then they're planning to do some similar construction southbound. So that may also disrupt some of the port operations on San Luis 1.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Thank you, sir.
Current events. We'll start with Professor Pancrazy. Yes.
I toured AgTech several times, and I attended the Attorney General's meeting regarding biosolids. I went to Goodyear and looked at, educated myself and on a little more on data centers. The Goodyear staff did a presentation on some of the problems they've had and some of the concerns, and there was Casa Grande, Pinal County, and Somerton and Yuma, and just to educate ourselves a little more on what's going on with those. And then I attended my YMPO meeting. And I answered, I had several constituent situations that I dealt with, so yeah. Other than that.
Mr. Chairman, had a meeting with the building department with Ian, had 3 meetings on water, had 2 meetings with Ag, and spoke with the State Department on behalf of labor contractors whose visas had been held up in the Tijuana consulate. And those should be approved today so that we can bring people in to start working right now. Yeah, H-2A workers. Same people who've been here before, just coming back to start, because we start planting in a month, right?
Yes, towards the end of this, or middle of this month.
Yeah.
Yep. Just community meeting in the foothills, attended the steady kickoff for the high schools. Numerous meetings with different people throughout my district in foothills and East County over some issues. That's it.
Chris?
I already congratulated Alejandro, so that's what I was missing. So congratulations again, Alejandro, and I hope to see you at the August meeting of the Greater Yuma Port Authority. It's time for the county to shine there, so I hope you keep the administrator informed of what's going on. Thank you very much.
I attended the YMPO. I also attended the meeting with the Attorney General. And what else?
You went to Goodyear.
Oh, did I? Oh, I did. Ian?
Thank you, Chairman. Attended a virtual meeting of Arizona County's insurance pool, attended the Biosolids Forum, attended the Cocopah Tribal Council swearing-in ceremony, toured the data center in Goodyear to learn more about that issue, attended a meeting of the YSIPTA Financial Sustainability Committee, and several meetings and phone calls with residents. Thank you.
All right. Is there a,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for the purpose of obtaining counsel.
I'll second.
there's a motion and a second to go into executive session for consultation with the Yuma County Attorney and Special Deputy Counsel for legal advice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into the conference room, right, I'll go ahead and adjourn the executive session and reconvene in regular session. Anything else? So we'll get that letter from you, or?
I'll make a motion that we approve a waiver form.
Yes, I think a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the forthcoming letter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second it. Go ahead.
One second.
There's a motion and a second to authorize the chairman to sign that waiver form. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Wow, that was quick.